we don't reveal any of your secrets or anything. So good evening, everybody. So this is just Mentor Team 101. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the ground rules of being on a mentor team. But I want to start by saying that being on a mentor team is very organic. So I can sit here for the next 3 or 4 hours and tell you guys everything that can and might and won't and possibly will happen on a mentor team. But it's kind of like building a family. The dynamics change, the growth changes, and you kind of pivot and adapt a lot. So I answer questions kind of as we go, but I'm going to give you some guidelines that are going to help you get started. I've been talking all day, so hopefully I'll keep my voice. The requirement to be on a mentor team is to have all your paperwork submitted to me. We do a background check on you. If you have a fingerprint clearance card, that's great. Send us a copy of that. That always helps with that process. You have to take a tour of the Phoenix Dream Center. You can go any Tuesday at noon or the last Saturday of the month at 11. And that's new. In some of the paperwork that was sent out in the past, orientation and the monthly tours on Saturdays was the first Saturday of each month, and it just changed this month to the last Saturday of the month. So if you were thinking, oh my gosh, I missed orientation, you didn't. But we just have so many things going on the first and second Saturdays of every month that Alicia moved it to the last Saturday, and now we're just trying to get the word out to everybody. Once your paperwork is submitted, you're vetted, you take a tour, I send you a link to register for orientation, or you just show up. It's from 9 to 11, and you just tell Alicia, I'm vetted, I'm good to go, I'm a new mentor, and you'll go through orientation. It's about an hour and a half, and then you can stay for the tour at 11 if you haven't done the tour yet.
So, Joanna, can I ask you what day is that? Is that a Saturday morning then? The orientation?
Yeah, it's always Saturday, the last Saturday of every month. But Deb, you've been through orientation, haven't you?
I've done everything else, the tour and all the paperwork and stuff. I'm not sure if I've been through an orientation.
Okay, so you have to go through my orientation, which is super duper simple. We're doing it right now. And then you have to go through volunteer orientation, where Alicia goes through all the rules and regulations for the Dream Center. 90% of it, you're going to go, that's common sense. That's common sense. But you guys would not believe how many situations we have had that has caused us to have to tell people things. For instance, I'll give you a good example. We had a mentor team, great mentor team, and they had a great mentee and just wonderful relationship. And they had already gone through their first 6 months of meetings. They were like a family, and they all went to lunch together. And several of the mentors ordered alcohol with lunch. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, but she's over 21. I'm like, no, we can't do that. So people doing things and us learning from it and them learning creates the reason why we have to tell you things like, don't wear your crop top and your booty leggings to a mentor meeting. It's not really so much because it may affect the mentee, but it may affect someone else on the campus. It may trigger somebody. So you just have to kind of use common sense and just think every time you walk on the campus, just kind of think of it as like you're going to a very conservative church or a very conservative business meeting. You can wear jeans, you can wear t-shirts, you can wear sweatshirts, things like that. But just kind of think, I mean, there's a lot of, the Phoenix Dream Center is half Where Hope Lives, which is our human trafficking program, and it's half adult recovery. And you'll walk through campus and you'll see a few men walking towards you that are maybe a little bit older, and they won't even make contact with you, like eye contact with you. They won't look at you. They bounce their eyes. And it's because they're all in recovery. And so we never want to do anything that's going to trigger somebody. So save your fun little outfits for Friday night with your man. Okay. This, I know y'all are laughing, but we say this because I had a volunteer show up on campus one time. She came straight from her Pilates class and her little crop top, her little booty shorts. And I'm like, you're so cute. Go home. Something else. And you also have to remember too that we set the example in our speech, in our actions, in our dress. Part of what you're doing is we are really trying to teach these kids, I call them kids, and some of them are in their late 20s, these kids, what working with real people in the real world outside of the Dream Center and outside of human trafficking is like. And so, we want them to understand that, this is how people interact and this is how adults act. And we shake hands and we, like, you ask permission before you ever hug a resident, and you never take their child from them. You ask permission, hey, can I hold your child? And if they say, no, I don't think so, you don't get your panties in a wad about that. You go, okay, they're not ready yet. It's a long journey of trust. I had recently, not so long ago, I had a mentor call me and say, I just don't think I can do this because our mentee is not doing their homework. And I'm like, this is not the place for you, because this is a journey. And although they're on third pillar, this is really their first, since they've come to the Dream Center, it's their first touch with a group outside of the Dream Center, other than church or medical or maybe a field trip that they do. But there's a trust issue there. And the good thing is that most of our residents trust women more than they trust men, but we really like to have at least one man on each mentor team. But a lot of our mentors are female. And so that really helps, because there's a lot of issues with males. Not that they hate males, but there's a trust issue. And then sometimes the girls get a little nuts and they act weird around men and almost flirtatious because that's all they know. And so really what you're doing is, and I'm kind of rambling here, but you're kind of setting the example of how grown-up people interact with each other. And we've had mentees come into their meetings and halfway through the meeting say, I just can't do this right now, and walk out. And something triggered them. It may not be you. It could have been something that happened 5 minutes before their meeting. They may have just gotten a call from, their attorney saying, you've been denied custody of your child again. They may have just gotten a phone call from one of their family members who's like, you're worthless, you're trash, you're nothing, nobody loves you. You never know. And so what you're going to do as a mentor is you're going to work with them. You're going to cover all the 8 areas that need to be covered, but you're also going to try to break down walls a little bit and show them that you're trustworthy, that everything that's said in a meeting stays inside the meeting. And we'll come back to that in a minute about the reports and all, but you really have to be ready to show them a lot of grace, a lot of love. You have to understand that not everything they say may be completely truthful, because they are so used to covering things. And so you may hear one story the second or third meeting, and then you hear another story 6 months later. It's what they do to protect themselves. So, you never want to say, well, that doesn't sound like it's true, but you can say, well, that's different from what you told us before. I'm really excited that you're breaking through and really sharing with us what really happened with you. So we try to make everything a positive. Everything we do at the Dream Center is positive reinforcement. So like if their room isn't clean, they don't get in trouble, but they don't get points. And they want to get points to move up in the pillars and to eventually graduate. So we try to do a lot of positive reinforcement. Now, I'm the queen of tough love. So I'm not a mentor. And that's probably a good thing, because I'd be like, girl, that is bull. Yeah, because I know them too well. And they're always like, can you be my mentor? And I'm like, you don't want me as your mentor. You want these nice people who show up twice a month and love you. So, but let me go over the lanes real quick. There's a lot of overlap with the lanes, and you don't, if you have a lane and you're like, I don't know anything about education, or I don't know anything about transportation, that's not really the issue. The issue is that you're kind of walking alongside them and their decisions in that arena. So in other words, let's say your mentee does not have their high school diploma and they're trying to decide between high school diploma and GED, and you're in charge of education. Well, you might want to do a little, go into the Google on the side and see what are the restrictions for future career if you only have your GED. Because there's colleges they can't get into, there's jobs they can't get. And sometimes the GED looks easy and the high school diploma looks really hard, but we always want to go in favor of the high school diploma, always, if we can. But we never want to tell them, no, don't do that. We just want to say, well, let's look at the difference. And, you know, yes, it might be 6 more months, but in the long run, it's going to be so much more beneficial when you try to get a job or if you want to go to a higher education. So just little things like that. So like if you were in charge of housing, the first thing you're going to really work with them on is what's the state of your room? You know, do you take care of your room? Do you know how to clean your room? Do you know how to clean your bathroom? I know that sounds so basic, but y'all have to remember that when someone's trafficked, when their trafficking begins, their spiritual and their emotional growth stops. So if they're 23, 24, 25 years old, but they were trafficked at 12, you're talking to a 12-year-old. And there's all these holes in their development, and those are the holes that you're going to figure out what the holes are, and you're going to fill and cover those holes. Okay, so you don't have to know about transportation. You don't have to know how the bus routes work if your mentee is ready to start going to school and has to go to school off campus, or they get a job. You're going to sit down with them and say, okay, let's look at the bus schedules. Now, like with transportation, they ride the bus during the day, but if it's after dark, they get a Lyft, an Uber, or Venmo, or whatever, Bayo, or whatever those things are called. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that you'll learn as you go. But if you just kind of use common sense and just when you're dealing with them, just kind of say, okay, if I were talking to a 12-year-old about bus schedules, how simple would it have to be? Another thing too, y'all, is you don't want to do the work for them. You don't want to do the work for them. You want to steer them in the right direction because you're going to meet with them twice a month for the first 3 months and once a month thereafter. And you're going to give them homework. If they say one of their goals is to have a car and you're in charge of transportation or you're in charge of finance or both those people, they're going to say, okay, do you know what it costs to have a car? Well, yeah, just buy a car. Okay, well, there's more expenses to a car. I want you to research between now and the next time we meet, what are the top 10 expenses in owning a car? Insurance, gas, maintenance, you know, all that kind of stuff, getting oil changes, all of that, and just being responsible. So, you know, this is where the lanes overlap. So one person, Lisa may be career, Kay may be education. Kay's talking to Susie about getting her associate's degree in, you know, medicine or whatever to be a nurse. And so Lisa says, okay, let's look at the careers that will be available to you once you finish that degree. And it gets them excited about what they're going to be doing. And you say, okay, look at, you know, what are the jobs that will be available to you? And what's the pay scale? And how soon can you get out of the Dream Center and get your own place? And sometimes we don't want them to leave the Dream Center yet because they're emotionally not ready. They may have gone 3rd pillar, 4th pillar, graduated, and might still stay at the Dream Center another 6 months to a year because they're trying to save money to get their own place, or they're trying to get their kids back and they need that support. So no 2 stories are alike. I can't say this is the formula for a successful mentor team. it's everything is different. And that's why I say it has to develop organically. And, you know, little things like we had someone on a mentor team, the mentee said, I'm so excited I got a job at the Pizza Hut. And the mentor, in complete love, said, you can do so much better. And that mentee, it had taken him 6 months to get up the nerve to go apply for that job.
Yeah.
So it's baby steps. Everything is baby steps. Now, I have questions from mentors saying, can we invite them to our home? Let's get through the first 2 to 3 months of meetings. And then the team leader and I and the manager of that person's program will have a conversation about that. Because they may say, oh yeah, Kay, I'd love to come to your house for Easter. That'd be great. And then when they walk away, they're like, I'm scared to leave campus right now. Like, you know, they might tell you one thing, but we know something else. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
It sounds very secretive, but it's really not. And I'm very transparent. So you don't have to worry about me hiding things from you. But we have to walk very carefully. But you're going to want to take them home with you. You're going to want to introduce them to your family. You're going to want to have them over for Sunday supper and things like that. All that can happen after the 2nd or 3rd month. Let's get through 4, 5, 6 meetings first, and then that'll happen. We do have to have a team leader for each team. And right now we have 2 mentees that are biting at my heels saying, I want a mentor team. So I do need 2 people to step up and say, I'll be team leader. So let me tell you what team leader does. The team leader writes the post meeting report. And I actually send you a guideline. I send you 3 or 4 of them, and you can kind of pick how you want to write that report. And they also coordinate the meetings. That is the hardest part. I'll be honest with you right now. The hardest part is coordinating everybody's schedule. But once you do it, you set up a pattern and it's done. It might be the 1st and 3rd Saturdays, or the 2nd and 4th Saturdays, or, you know, the 1st and 3rd Mondays each month. And you just clear it with me. I make sure that it's going to work with their schedule. They don't have an obligation already. We put it on the calendar and it's done. The first meeting you have is going to be a Zoom meeting. That way their manager can be on, they can be on, I can be on, and it's just like this. It's like the Brady Bunch. And the reason why we do that is because to have 3 or 4 people in your face, you kind of, the first time, it's kind of good to have the distance of this virtual world. So they can kind of say, we actually had a mentee a year and a half ago. She had her first meeting on Zoom, got off of it, burst into tears and said, I can't do this. It's good that we found that out early. Okay. It was just too much for her. She wasn't ready. So, and that has only happened one time in the 3 years I've been doing this. So don't worry. So after your first 3 months of meetings, so you have 2 meetings, let's say 2 meetings in February, 2 in March, 2 in April. In May, you can start having what's called mini meetings, little bitty baby meetings. So it might be 1, 2, 3 people from the mentor team that meet with the mentee at one time. It can be one person, but you can never be in a room with a closed door by yourself with your mentee, ever. You just never know. You don't want we don't want you guys to be in a situation or them to be in a situation where it's he said, she said. Okay. So you always want some type of accountability. Now, we do have a beautiful courtyard. It's a little cold right now, but 9 months out of the year, it's a great place to sit. Maybe bring them a coffee or bring them a donut or whatever. Some people even bring lunch. And you sit there and you can chat with them for a little while until they have their next class or they have their next appointment. Okay. And that's super simple. You can do that all day long. You can meet in the 4th floor kitchen. You can meet in the chapel. You can meet in the Sons Learning Center. It's just, if you're not outdoors, we just ask that you keep the door open and the manager will check in on you a couple of times. And if they're not making sure everything's like, you know, safe, but it's an accountability thing. Yeah. Okay. And they can also see if that mentee might all of a sudden be in distress or they've been triggered, and they can kind of de-escalate it, deregulate it. Okay. So mini meetings. Okay, for the first 3 months, the team leader, the program manager for that person, and myself will be in a group text and a group email. The rest of the team will be in a team text with the manager and myself. I know you're going, how many texts a day do you get? I get a lot. You cannot communicate with the mentee unless you're team leader until you hit your 3rd month. We have to establish trust and rapport and make sure everything's good. And even at that point, let's say Jessa wanted to talk to Susie in a text message by herself, she has to have the team leader and myself and the manager on that text as well. Okay, it's for your safety and theirs. If they're ever triggered, we want to see what happened so that we can help and we can be a support. You can, as a mentor, you can assign homework. We want you to assign homework because you're not going to meet, you're going to meet them, and then 2 weeks later, you'll see them again. So they'll have 2 weeks to do their homework. So your first meeting is going to be about an hour and a half because each person's going to have about 10 minutes to talk about, you know, what their lane is and talk to the mentee about, have you thought about what your goals are as far as education or transportation or housing, or what are your family goals? What are your, and they'll tell you what their goals are, and they're going to write it down in their notebook, and you'll write it down as well. And then you'll give them an assignment, and the assignment might be something as simple as, okay, you're talking about going to school or getting a job. I want you to locate where you can find the bus schedules, whether it's online or on their phone or whatever, and come write down the schedules that you think would be best for you in your notebook. And let's really try to focus on making sure that you're back at the Dream Center before dark, so you don't get stuck somewhere and we have to send a car for you. Okay. And all you're doing is you're reiterating the very rules they have to live by. Okay. Since we got all girls here, I usually don't have these issues with the men. Don't give them money. Don't bring them presents. You are not Santa Claus. You are to help them problem solve, not solve the problem for them. And as women, what do we want to do?
Help.
We want to be the fix-it person. So, you know, you're going to have to really watch yourself. Now, I have people ask every single month, can we bring snacks? Can we bring food? You can bring light snacks. You can ask on the first Zoom, are you allergic to anything? What are your favorite snacks? You can do fruit. You can do maybe a little bag of chips or cookies. But you guys, whatever you do in those first few meetings sets a precedent for what could be the next 2 years. Okay, so you are not Santa Claus. I had one resident. They said, "What do you like to eat? What do you like to snack on?" She goes, "I love salmon, and I love sushi." And I go, "Whoa, what do you like to snack on? Like, what do you like that comes in a bag?" We had a mentee call one of her mentors. She had COVID, and she was in, she was in her room, and she said, "They're not bringing me any food." Oh my gosh. She had more food than she could ever eat. She just wanted someone to come visit her. So don't believe everything you hear, okay? Just think 12-year-old, 14-year-old, 13-year-old, okay? But they're fun and they're interesting, and you'll never have a dull moment. We do ask that you don't discuss your mentee's life or their story with family members, with friends, whatever. If someone says, "Hey, you're mentoring at the Dream Center, how's that going?" You just say, "It's great, you should try it." "Well, tell me about the person you're mentoring." "It's not my story to tell." That sentence right there will shut people down every single time. It's not my story to tell. Because guess what, ladies? It's not. It's not your story to tell. Now, you will, especially after like the second or third meeting, you will probably want to do a Zoom meeting or a group meeting and meet for coffee or something and talk about strategy. because once you meet with them a few times, you're going to get a feel for them. And then you might want to come together as a group. I've got one group that's been doing Zoom meetings almost every week. They are amazing. And not that that's a great thing to do, but they had a mentee that had a lot of challenges, a lot. And they had to strategize. You're going to say this, and I'm going to say this, and then good cop, bad cop, all kinds of scenarios. Okay. The final thing is, once they graduate, and when they graduate, it's a big, big deal. So please, we'll give you lots of notice on when their graduation is. Please make sure you go, and they just bring them a small gift, but everybody brings a small gift. It's huge because this is their prom, this is their debut, this is their graduation, this is what you experienced growing up, they've never had. They never went to prom. They never were honored at anything. So this is really important. Once they graduate, if they stay in Phoenix, and we do have some people leave Phoenix to go to college, or they're reunited with their family outside of the state. If they stay in Phoenix, you can continue to work with them for up to a year. And I've got people who had a mentee 2.5 years ago that they've graduated. They're in nursing. One girl's in nursing school now. She's got her child back. She's restored with her parents. She still meets with some of her mentors. I mean, they'll go to her wedding someday. You know, it's, you become their family. So at that point, it's not really my program anymore. It's now your choice to have that. But just use a lot of discernment. And if you have questions, you always want to go through your team leader and myself. So like, let's say something really strange happened, or you have a question about something, just make sure that any correspondence you have, you know, I'm in on, because your team leader is going to have to forward it to me anyway. So might as well put us all in a group text. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we've got 4 more that are going to watch 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We've got enough for 2 teams right now. So I just need to see if anybody wants to be a team leader. And then
I will.
Cheryl, you want to be a team leader?
Yeah, I'll be a team leader. Yeah.
And I will do it too.
Okay,
I will do it too.
Cheryl. Okay. Okay. Very good. All right. And so
Now, here's my thing, Joanna. My thing is that I've been at the fountain for 4 years.
oh yeah.
And so does it conflict if I don't do it on Saturdays, or if I wait and do it after the fountain's closed?
Yeah, you could do it Saturday afternoon.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
And I mean, we've got a couple of mentor teams that meet during the week, and they love it. They go straight from
Great.
work or whatever, and they meet at 5 o'clock, and they're done by 6, and they're home by 7. So
Perfect.
and so, you know, as a team leader, what you'll do is you'll just send a survey out to everybody and say, when can you absolutely not meet? And then what are your favorite times to meet? And then you ask each team member what lane they want. But I will tell you guys, you might think, well, I want career, I want education. Everybody ends up doing everything. It becomes a mix mash. Everybody ends up doing everything. But I think what's really important is spiritual. Spiritual needs to be someone who is a believer. Just because we are a faith-based program, we don't force them to go to church. We don't force them to go to chapel. That's completely up to them. There are 30% of our classes, because I'm the education coordinator as well. 30% of their classes are faith-based, and we actually have an asterisk on their schedule that says faith-based. If they choose not to go to that class, that's fine. They don't get punished, but they have to go do something else. They have to have accountability. They can't go take a nap. But ultimately, our goal is for them to become a believer if that's God's will for them. So we just don't force it down their throats or anything. Because some of them were trafficked in the name of the church. Yeah. Some of them were trafficked by, you know, Uncle Bob, who was sitting next to them in church every Sunday. So sometimes church and religion is not a healthy thing for them. And so we come at it in the beginning as we believe in a higher power, and there's accountability when no one's looking, and God loves you. And I've had residents say, more than one, say, where was God when I was being raped 17 times a day? And I'm like, he was right next to you, holding your hand, crying with you. Because there's sin in this world. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my role historically at the Dream Center. I got sucked into the Dream Center after taking a tour of the Dream Center with my Bible study class. And literally it just said, what can I do to help? And I started volunteering 1 day a week, which turned into being volunteer coordinator, which turned into teaching a class on business and dining etiquette, which turned into, 3 years ago, taking over mentorship, education, and the corporate initiatives director. So yeah, my life is now about 60 hours a week, Dream Center. So pray for me. But I'm telling you guys, it's the most rewarding thing, but I want you to guard your heart right now. And Deborah has been at the Dream Center a lot. And I know, Lisa, if you've done the fountain, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get your feelings hurt. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be lied to. And you just got to be ready for that, because when they have breakthroughs, when you see this young lady get her child back and she's about to graduate from nursing school, and she has pictures of her daughter and her family at Christmas, and at her graduation, her dad, I'll never forget it. He stood behind her and he put his hands on her shoulders and he said, we are so, so proud of, and he said her name, because less than a year ago, I was just praying that she would die. And but how far she had, so it's worth it. And we just had one of our graduates, Aaron, his mentor team has been with him for the past 2 years. They got him through his high school diploma, kicking and screaming. He just left for college, and we got videos of it and how excited he was. And he took a video of himself walking out of the Dream Center, and he said, I'm victorious. We have guys in our program. We have guys who've been trafficked. And what you guys are volunteering to do, it might just be 3 or 4 hours a month, but it's life-changing. And, so many times y'all have heard the starfish story of, the little girl walking along the beach with her grandfather, and there's thousands of starfish, and he starts throwing them back in the ocean. And he says, you can't save them all. And she picks one up and throws it back. And she says, I just saved that one. Well, you're saving one. You're saving one. And to pour into one individual and have an effect on them that is going to change their entire life is worth every bit of the drama. It's worth almost all of the drama. And I've been doing this a long time, and they still make me cry, and I'm not a crier. So anyway, okay, y'all have questions?
What's the next step? When will we know what team we're on, what time?
Within 24 hours.
Okay.
So you will get,
Okay.
I will email Cheryl and Lisa. As a matter of fact, if y'all want to stay on for a couple of minutes afterwards, if you have time. And then what we'll do is I'm going to look at what y'all have already sent me as far as your schedules. If it looks like on their 2 teams, we need to switch 2 people before y'all ever do the first Zoom, we will, based on schedules and all. But I'm working with over 300 people right now, so I'm going to let them kind of figure it out and see how it works. But right now, just tell me, I know, Nicole, you work Monday through Friday. Who else has like full-time work during the week? Like,
I do, Joanna. Yeah, in my email to you, I think I sent it to you yesterday. I travel for my job basically every week.
Yeah.
So really like Tuesday through Thursday, I'm basically in Vegas, sometimes in Mexico. But anyway, so I did put that on there that, I kind of have to work around that.
Okay. So yeah, I remember that now. You said Sunday afternoons. So Saturday
Evening,
yeah, Saturday mornings is a great time to do mentor team meetings. Saturday afternoons is great, especially if they go to equine therapy once a month. Sunday afternoons, I hate to take people's family time on Sundays, but if we've got, if Cheryl has a team of people that they can really meet consistently on Saturday afternoons or Sunday afternoons. Is there anybody who says, yes, that would work out really great with my schedule right now?
Joanna, I had mentioned Sunday evening, not the afternoon, but you know, I'm flexible, like to work with everybody. But I can understand a Sunday evening is kind of a tough time.
Yeah.
And so I can probably make Saturday mornings work
Yeah.
too. So I'll definitely be
Okay.
flexible with
Okay.
the times that I am here.
And Monday nights work out surprisingly well for a lot of people. Yeah. So if that works too, and if you're not traveling on Monday nights, remember guys, it's driving there. It's an hour and 15 minutes. It's driving home. These are not 2 and 3 hour meetings. Okay. Unless you decide to do something special, like it's their birthday or something like that. And you just have your team leader say, hey, can we bring a cake, or can we just bring maybe a couple little gift cards for Walmart or something like that? Cause they go to Walmart every week. That would work out really well. So, okay, well, I'll, it's like, I don't really have a method to my madness. It's really just, I throw people together and it just seems to always work out. So,
So,
just
Joanna,
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know how soon these groups are going to be, functioning and going, but I think I had told you I can't do anything until February.
Right. I knew that.
So, and after that, we are out of town like every other weekend, but so weekday stuff is better for me.
Okay.
But I can't really start till February.
Okay.
Sorry.
And no, that's fine. And I will tell y'all this, I have a Zoom account. A lot of people have iPhones. If something happens, like let's say, Nicole, you're on your way to a mentor meeting and you have a family crisis, or you wake up that morning and you're coughing your head off. You let your team leader know that you need to be on Zoom or you need to be on FaceTime. Now, the last thing we want is to have 3 phones sitting there staring at the mentee. So we try not to do that. It needs to be like, this is serious. We've got, it's amazing when the teams were 8 people, it was like herding cats. So this is a lot easier. So Saturday and Sunday PM.
Joanna,
Yeah.
the only thing I was hoping for, and it's not a requirement, is somebody who has a baby.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm a baby whisperer, so
Okay.
I
God bless you.
love babies.
God bless you, because I am not a baby person. The only baby I have anything to do with, my son and his wife gave birth to. The girls laugh at me because they're like, Miss Joanna, you want to see my baby? And I'm like, that's a baby. And they're like, we heard you weren't a baby person. I'm like, you know what? When they turn 2, I'm going to buy all their clothes.
You can send them to me before that.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And Joanna, I didn't send you my information. I have it here, so I'll drop it off at the center tomorrow. But I can do, I don't work, so I can do anytime, any day, except Saturday mornings.
Not Saturday.
Because I'm at the fountain.
And I don't know if this is the time to say it or not.
Yeah, say it.
I don't know if we're at this point yet, but I would love to do healthcare.
Okay.
I'm a retired nurse.
Yeah. And that's,
yeah.
Hey, that's usually one that nobody wants.
Oh, good.
And I will tell you, healthcare is not just self-health care. It
Right.
goes all the way to someday when you get a job, you need to learn what benefits are.
Right.
And
okay.
Now sometimes if you take this job, which pays a tiny bit less than this job, but this job gives you insurance for yourself and your baby.
Right.
Yeah. So healthcare is a lot of stuff. Spiritual, a lot of stuff. Family, a lot of stuff. So it can all be a lot of stuff, tell you the truth. So
I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
When we're on, excuse me, when we're on the teams, do we, like, can we say what areas we're most interested in? Or do they ask us like what our strengths are, or what to try and assign us?
You
that
just tell
way?
your team leader what areas you want.
Okay.
Yeah. And so much of it overlaps anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody ever wants transportation or housing or housing. They don't want housing. And I'm like, all it is teaching them how to clean their room and take care of their stuff. And then when they get ready to want to leave, what does it cost to have an apartment? And they do that with the finance person who does it with the career person to find out how much money they're going to make, who's also talking to the school person. Yeah. The lanes are crazy. Okay, I keep trying to ask Jessa this. Jessa, what is your schedule like?
Just
I think you're freezing and I can't hear you. You're not muted. I can't. Can y'all hear anything?
No.
Okay.
No, can't hear from her.
Okay, Jessa, put it in the chat. Sorry, I have no patience. And Deb, you have some restrictions as well, don't you, Deb?
Yes. So do you want to know when I'm available or not
Yeah,
available?
when you are.
Okay, I can do a Monday or Tuesday morning or afternoon. I could do, I don't see well to be able to drive at night, so
Right.
avoid night.
Right.
And then Saturday, either morning or afternoon.
Okay. Okay. Because you've got a lot of obligations at your church on Sunday.
Yeah, I do Mending the Soul, so I know about
Yeah.
Mentor and seeing the girls at the end, the reward. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And then I work with the marriage ministry with my husband, so pretty busy
Right.
on that.
Okay. Good for you. Yay. Thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
So I hope you can fit me in somewhere.
Yeah.
So
And
whatever works.
Kay, what I may have to do with you, and not starting until February, I've got, if none of these others are ready to go, I may go ahead and put you on a team and you'll just miss the first meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you could always be on FaceTime. And then I've got notes all over the place here. Cheryl, your restrictions are that you're traveling Tuesday through
Thursday.
Yeah, and that's for the most part. Really, like this week, it started where it's Tuesday through Thursday. Up until now, I would always travel on Monday night because I have to be at a school in Vegas at Tuesday morning at 8. But I decided for this visit, I'm just going to try to fly out early. So as of now, Monday evenings are open.
Okay.
But once the time change happens, that might make it so there's not a flight early enough on a Tuesday morning, and then the Monday nights I'd have to be.
Okay.
I wouldn't be here.
Okay, I think I have almost everybody's kind of schedule. Teresa, I didn't write anything for you. What are your restrictions?
okay. So I'm available Monday evenings, Tuesday evenings, Thursday evenings. I have it written down too. And Saturday days are
Okay,
good.
Saturday. Okay.
And then someday, possibly Wednesdays and Friday, first and third Fridays.
Okay, so you're pretty open. Okay.
Had any-
Okay, Jessica can hear us now. Jessica, I keep wanting to call you Jessica. Jessa, do this, sign off and sign back on. We're gonna kick her out for a minute. Kay, the reason why I say I may go ahead and put you on a team is I really like for people to go through orientation and know what all is expected. But are you going to be back in time for orientation at the end of this month?
No, I'm out of the country. So I already told her I can't even do that one until February.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
So that's late February now,
Yeah,
right?
that's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Can I start this before I do general orientation?
Yeah. I don't have any red flags going off. That's why I like to.
Okay.
I mean, I'm between, okay, any evening except Friday. Okay, good girl, got it. Anytime on Sunday. Okay, well, there's several of y'all that could meet on Sundays. That's very interesting. Let me see. That's unusual. How many of y'all could meet? I know you've just told me, but how many of you could meet on Sunday, like late afternoon or Sunday? How many of y'all could do that?
Sunday evening.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay. Well, that could be another alternative for you guys. Keep in mind, it's only twice a month for 3 months and then once a month thereafter. So you're not giving up. Okay, so there's a lot more flexibility here than I thought. The kiddos do go to church. If they don't go to church, there's an alternative class that Caitlin teaches on Sundays, that because they can't just stay in bed. They can't say, I don't want to go to church. I don't believe in it. And they go back to bed and they're like, get up, you got class.
Yeah.
It's discipline. And, one of the reasons why we're so strict about the classes and the accountability and all that is because when someone's been trafficked, they have been allowed to make no choices. And if they walk into a program where we go, do what you want, their mind goes into overload. So we start very, very, very disciplined. This is when you eat breakfast. This is when you go to worship or do something else. This is when your chores are done. This is when you go to class here. This is because then as they hit second pillar, they get a little bit more freedom. And then third pillar, this is where they get a mentor team. They can go to work full time. They can go to school full time. They can do a hybrid of both. They get their phone back, which that can be a bad thing. I've actually had mentor teams call me and say, you need to take their phone. It's triggering and they're tempted to go back into the life. So we got to take their phone away. So that's real important too. And we'll have a lot of chats, a lot. Y'all will be so tired of me after 6 months. And I just want to say this up front, as girlfriends, I want to say, just if you ever text me or you ask me a question and I'm real short with you, I might have 2 Zoom meetings going on and something else and craziness, and I'm raising my 87-year-old dad. And so if you get an answer, consider yourself blessed.
Yeah. You weren't ignored.
My husband's like, I want to retire in a couple of years. Are you going to retire? And I'm like, no, I'm having way too much fun. Yeah, we kill each other. Are you kidding? And I do not look good in orange. No.
You look good in black.
All this
Orange is
hair,
the new black.
yeah, all this hair in a prison, man, they'd have a field day with me. All right. Well, if y'all have any questions or concerns, reach out to me. The best way to reach me is always texting. But if you reach out by email, I'll get it within 24 hours. I have 5 email addresses right now through the Dream Center, and they're trying to
Lord.
consolidate them. So, and it's a nightmare, but we've changed over our whole like internet and all this kind of stuff. So we have a little bit of growing pains. So for right now, the best way to get me is text me.
Okay. And then
Do we all have your phone number? Is it somewhere in here?
It should be on everything you've ever received from me.
Okay, I'll look it up.
It's 770. It's an Atlanta number. 770 712
Mm-hmm.
6409. If you ever
Thank
get
you.
stuck somewhere and you can't remember it, just dial 1-800-9-JOANNA. That's me.
Okay.
Joanna, I can just drop this paperwork off tomorrow at the
Yeah, but
Dream Center?
put it in an envelope and put Joanna Shipe on it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if Miss Pat isn't there, Miss Pat is super tiny. She doesn't crack 100 pounds, has little glasses. If she's not there, call Irene and give it to Irene because I won't be there again till
I'll
Wednesday.
give it to Irene.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'll see Irene on Wednesday.
Okay.
So we'll just be waiting for the team
You'll-
leaders to
You're
contact
gonna get an
us.
email. Lisa, what is your email address?
Lisa, B as in boy, David my last name, at yahoo.com.
Okay, so make sure that y'all look for that in your spam. And Cheryl, what's yours?
Okay, it's kind of long. So it's my name and my birthday. So Cheryl V for my middle initial Valerie Christensen 911 at gmail.com.
Okay,
Is it Cheryl with a C
Yes, yes. Uh-huh.
and Christensen with a EN?
Yeah, can you see it on the Zoom screen?
it's on
Are
the
you-
screen.
Okay, is that right? Is that right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
spelled correctly, yes. Cheryl V. Christensen. Mhm.
You got some investment in those letters there. When you fill out forms, do you have to go to the other side?
Oh, yes. It's so crazy, especially when they ask for your email and it's just like, oh dear. It's like going under around.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so y'all will get an email from one of them. If you do not get an email in the next 24 hours, then text me and tell me you didn't get it. So it may be in your spam, but we'll keep.
Mean
we'll
from
open-
you, Joanna,
It'll
or
come-
them?
the next email they're going to get is going to be either from you or Lisa.
Okay, and are Lisa and I staying on a little bit longer then? Or
Yeah, I want y'all to stay on for just a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll give y'all a little bit more stuff. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being on. You're rock stars. We appreciate you. And if
Thank
you have nightmares all night and you call me in the morning and say, I don't want to do this, I'm not going to answer.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
you
thank
guys,
you,
have a good
Joanna.
night. Bye.
Bye,
Thank
ladies.
You
you.
too. Bye.
Yeah, I've got 6
Who-
calls tomorrow. I'm
who-
going to be speaking all day.
Who was supposed to stay on? Just Lisa and Cheryl?
Yeah,
Should I get out of here? Okay, bye-bye.
bye-bye.
I'm trying to.